Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but really just the men. This is your host, John Kostohris, joined by co-host
Adam Thooft. What is up, boys?
Woo! We are so excited to be back. We are, I just want to launch in with the topic, man. Adam and I have been, as you might have noticed, we haven't put out episodes for a while, and
Yeah, we took a little sabbatical, so welcome to season 2, I guess.
Yeah. And, we really did take a sabbatical, though. There's been kind of we had like a retreat, if you will, of just like, what is my life purpose and my mission? And I mean, that's a really kind of vague way of saying it, but yeah. I think Adam, you could attest to this, but there's been some challenge on the road. There's been maybe like, I got to get my mindset right. I got to reframe, like, what are the systems how do I stay organized in my life is what I mean by systems. How do I, like, what's my routine? What's my schedule? How do I plan to study and how do I plan to grow as a person? And I think there was a bit of like, we've tried stuff and it was been challenging. And now it's like, how do we want to move forward? We don't want to just slip out of this. We want to continue to become great, become better men.
Oh yeah.
That's, I think if I could sum up our sabbatical, I think we could say that.
Yeah. And actually, like, we were trying to, like, get that done. Like, not just be like, oh, we need to do this thing. It's more like, no, it needs to happen. I want to, like, slap somebody right now, but I'm just amped. But
we got to commit.
Yeah. You have to commit.
If you don't commit, if you don't have commitment, you don't have anything.
Yeah. But that's also making sure you're like saying yes to the things that you want to say yes to and saying no to the things you want to say no to. And sometimes that includes saying no to good things for better things.
Yeah. What does that even mean?
So
what have you been doing in your life that, maybe a story that you could your reflection on that? What's your process? What's your process been for thinking about that?
I think it's kind of like,
and restate it one more time just so we can, like, get in the mojo, get in the flow here.
Sometimes you need to say no to good things to say yes to great things. And a lot of people are like, oh, say no to bad things, say yes to good things. And like, you can do that, but when it really becomes challenging is saying no to good things to say yes to great things. And you have to figure out what are the great things that you need to say yes to, and then actually like commit hard to them. But it's difficult to do that when you have other good things in your life that you're like, well, a lot of other people are saying yes to these things, but that's because they don't necessarily see or have access to the great things that I have in my life. So I have to make sure I'm doing the great things. Wow. And then if I have time for the good things, do those as well. And just forget that the bad even exists.
Yeah.
But like, granted,
what are some good things or bad things in your life?
I think
what are some examples that you have had maybe in the past couple of years or
yeah, there's definitely a lot there. Something that I can think of off the top of my head is like sleep, right?
Yeah. Sometimes
you need to say no to sleep to say yes to doing the things that you need to get done.
Yeah. Is that like waking up and working out or
yes?
What is that? You can kind of maybe share your journey here too, but
but
I'll
also
let you keep going.
Like sometimes you want to have some free time. You want to have like a chill morning, and it's like, oh, maybe you woke up a little late because you slept a little too long. Maybe you went to bed a little too late. You as in I've done this.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's already past this time. So I can't do the things that I said I was going to do in the morning, But at the same time, it's like, no, those things need to get done. You need to commit hard to those things. So even if you wake up late, you're still working out. You're still, studying. You're still like making sure you're feeding yourself properly. Like all those things, making sure you're getting those things done, even if you get up late, because those are wins that you need to keep your momentum going. So you keep building that instead of hitting like gas brake, and you're just not really going anywhere.
That's awesome, man. I love that because it makes me think of just the idea of, I guess we kind of came up with a one-liner here. It honestly just flowed out of our attitude. And as we were setting up here to record, we're like, I forget exactly who said it, but we spit out the line. Actually, I think this was me by accident. It's like, dude, you got to stay on the front end of being great.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a sweet thing just to talk about and break down here. But like, what did that mean for you hearing that?
Yeah, that means like you need to stay on like the initial things that bring you greatness. So it's kind of like the fundamentals of greatness. You need to stay continually doing those. But like why we say the front end is because it's like the beginning part that feeds into everything else. You got to keep doing those things. So you got to keep working out. You got to make sure you're getting up on time, going to bed on time, not wasting a bunch of time randomly going through social media or like watching TV or worse things. Like, you got to make sure you're doing those things properly. Cause like we could say front end and people are like, oh, you mean you gotta be you gotta stay on you gotta be a cashier at the greatness store? But that's not what it means. I'm making a reference to,
Was this
departments in like in a big box store. The front end is like the cashiers and stuff. But that's not what we mean. We mean you need to,
don't like pull up a cot and start lodging at the front desk of your place you work.
Yeah, don't pull up a cot at the front of Target and
well, I'm staying on the front end. It's I think we had this saying that I'll just break down this phrase too for y'all. We have the saying, just one of our business mentors has said, you got to stay on the front end of your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of maybe where this came from, was like what that means. It's kind of like staying on the front end it's kind of like, what are the daily actionables that I need to be doing? So, daily actionables. So that'd basically be like, am I in business? It's like, okay, well, you got to get leads. That's just how business works.
Yeah.
You got to find people that you can serve. Who are the people that you are called to serve? That's what every good ethical business owner really wants to do, is they have a certain audience, a target avatar, people that they've been. Russell Brunson talks about this. He's a really successful digital internet marketer and sales guy. Started ClickFunnels, co-founder of ClickFunnels, and one thing he talks about is essentially every entrepreneur has been called to serve people, and they have a certain mission that they've been given, and a business is a way of doing that, accomplishing that, and going there and reaching people and helping people. And whatever your, for anyone listening, maybe we've come across business owners, or our mindset, our idea of business is kind of negative. And that's a pretty popular thing, I think, in society. We just think that people that have money or people that have started businesses want to screw people over. And, that's simply not true. And it could be true for some people, but I guess the reason I even mention it is because there's this greater idea for people that I think everyone, whether you feel like you want to be an entrepreneur or not, maybe you just want to work a job and, whatever form of income. I guess I'm not necessarily saying it has to be a certain thing, but I do want to get back to my point, which is, essentially we've all been called to greatness. I think every man has been called to go and give his life to something bigger than himself. And that's going to be other people. That's going to be a group of people. That could be and will include and more, but it can include your good friends, your best friends. It can include your family. Maybe you have wife and kids. Maybe you are a kid. You are a son and you have father, mother, brother, sister. You've been called to serve the people that have been entrusted to your life, right? So that's going to be that family. It's going to be if you own a business or if you're a manager at a business at your work. Those people that you're in charge of managing. maybe you're really passionate about something like in a nonprofit space, right? So I want to kind of give a couple of those examples just to say, like, there's a lot of, maybe you're a coach on a sports team, right? You serve with your local church. You serve at a free ministry at the hospital or some or not ministry, like a what's it called? Service, like a volunteer. Volunteer, that's the word. Volunteer at a hospital.
Yeah.
And so we've been called to serve people. And so a lot of that entrepreneur space, Russell Brunson really he's felt on his journey was like, I didn't really feel like I fit in to any given circle. I just always felt like I was supposed to start something and pioneer something and go be creative. Like he was such the art of marketing, the art of building internet marketing. And it's just his obsession. And it was like, he was so passionate about it. And the people that he could go and serve and buy his products and services, he serves entrepreneurs and he gives them a channel to basically help grow their businesses. And like for them, like if he can help people actually accomplish their goals of growing their businesses and he can meet them where they're at with their struggles of doing that, and he can offer better experience and solutions. And, he's basically gone before them and been really successful. And he's really good at teaching that. He's really passionate about helping those people to do what he's done. And who hasn't had that experience, Adam, right? Where it's like, if I've played soccer, this is a big example for me in my life, but I love hockey. And I just loved, I loved playing hockey as a kid in high school and in middle school. And I remember Adam and it was like, hey, we should start this hockey league.
Yeah,
and
we've talked about this before, I think.
We've mentioned it, yeah. And we should start this hockey league. And we could sign up and have all these kids, and we could have like 3 or 4 teams and play each other and have jerseys and team names and print it out and like have a tournament. And Adam's like, you can tell your part about.
I was like, let's do it. I don't even know how to play hockey, but let's do it.
I was like, that's okay. You can be the referee. Okay, so here's the rules of, and then you're like, how do you even play hockey, John? And I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. I'll teach you that. So I was like,
we'll figure that out later. Right now,
I literally start just drawing out rules. And here's the hockey rink. Here's the blue line. I'm like trying to teach him. It's like, that way you can be a referee, right? And so, anyways, that's the hockey. And we ended up not doing this league. Spoiler alert. But it was a lot of work and, whatever. You can be a dreamer, but as a kid, it's hard to really execute.
Yeah. How old were we, do you think, at this point?
6th grade.
Yeah, something like that. 6th, 7th grade. We were in middle school.
It was like my 2nd year playing hockey.
Yeah.
Like in my life. And I was like, I'm so obsessed with this. But let me get back to my point, which, if I can remember that, it was serving people, entrepreneur, Russell Brunson. What was it? What was I saying?
Hockey, being passionate about what you're doing and building something.
I was so passionate about hockey, and I basically wanted to like, and here's the main point I'm trying to get is like, learning hockey and starting to get good at it or starting to love it or do it. I just wanted to start teaching other people. I was like, hey, I learned how to catch a pass. If a pass is going really fast, if you just have your stick really firm and it just, it's like throwing it at a brick wall and it just hits the wall and bounces off. Like that's what's gonna happen when the puck hits your stick. Boom. And it's hard to control the puck, but it's like the good hockey players, they understand, and this is what I was taught by my coaches. The good hockey players understand that if someone fires you a hard pass, if you kind of like an egg. Think about an egg. Have you ever seen the visit? When I was at University of Minnesota, when I was a kid, we went to this physics presentation on stage and they did this whole ropes and like eggs and like laying on a bed of nails and stuff. Right?
Oh, I think I've seen this.
You might have even been there, but it was
been the same one.
It was so cool. Anyways, they basically like show like, hey, toss an egg in there and here's a plate. Crack, smash, and it was like, that is what happens when you throw an egg in the air. But like, what if I could tell you, what it's like? Think about like the theatrical, like dun 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 circus, Afro circus, right? And they're like, what if I could tell you that you could throw an egg and catch it without breaking it? Ooh,
imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, and it was like, you don't think it's possible, but let me show you. And so they throw the egg up in the air, and what do? They hold the plate above their head, and as it starts to come to the egg, they mirror the egg speed with their hands on the plate, and they gradually catch it. By the time it's about their knees or ankles, they've like slowed the egg down and with its momentum, and they catch it on the plate, it doesn't crack.
Yeah.
So that's what you do with the hockey stick.
You have to match its momentum.
Exactly. So you put the stick out a little further, and then as it hits your stick, you kind of like,
take it back and kind of like catch it.
Cup it back and slow it down. And then if I do that, even just a bit of a micro, like it could be a little flick, like just a little bit, I can catch these laser passes and just, what I mean, with precision and control. And like, anyways.
So the complicated stuff that you've learned
that's stuff
from hockey.
That's a complicated thing. That's something I learned and I loved it. And And I wanted to teach that to somebody, right? I wanted to just like start teaching this to people. And so, and that's basically like serving and helping people, right? I wanted people to be better at hockey. I just naturally wanted that for them. It came out of a good place in my heart. And I think that's what Russell's really talking about, of like, there are certain people that we just have like learned these things in our lives and we just want to help them do the same thing. And so what do? Like, not everybody, but a lot of entrepreneurs, this is how they get their start. They're like, I'm going to create this and do a business out of it where I can basically just do this for other people and help them because I've learned how to do this. And, you know, it's kind of like paying other people for their experiences so that you can learn it faster and they can show you how to do it. And that'd be maybe more of a coaching business model, but.
And it's interesting with those people that don't really understand entrepreneurs. They kind of have that limiting belief of like, oh, why are you doing all this stuff for money? But the thing is entrepreneurs aren't doing it all for money. It's kind of one of the principles in Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is the wealthy don't work for money. They have money work for them. But because of that, they're willing to put in hours when they're not getting paid to generate something. But you actually have to have like basically passion for something or want to accomplish something without getting paid for it. So it's like you have to want to serve people. Now, the people that like don't understand that, it's because they're doing all their service and all of their passion projects and stuff outside of their work that they're not getting paid for. And then they're working just to make money. So then when someone is like an entrepreneur and they're like going after like trying to make money while doing also their passions, like, well, why would you spend all that time trying to make money when you're not going to have time to do your passionate thing about? But it's like, no, I'm kind of combining the two. And I think that's what people who aren't entrepreneurship minded don't necessarily like understand, but it's just because when they work for money. So it's just kind of like they need that mindset shift, and they can read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I guess, to get that.
I would recommend that's really foundational reading, I think, for just learning about financial literacy and money. And, you know, and kind of these stories and examples are, for us, it's really like okay, so we've kind of described like, if we're talking about staying on the front end of being great, it's like, I think we got a little lost in the sauce of goodness there. But, you know, there's a little bit of example in at least an entrepreneur sphere, but you can relate that to a lot of the other examples I gave of career or life, of like, what do we want to be successful with? What do I want to be great with, you know? And so like, I can speak for myself, and like, I think that's kind of where we want to go with this podcast too, is like, we want to stay on the front end of being great. What is that? What does being great mean for us? And it's like, I want to be a strong man. And I'll let you speak to this too, Adam. Like, what like we talk about with a dangerous man. And that for us is like this ideal of a man that we want to be, of what it means to be, you know, we've read a lot of different books from, you know, John Eldridge, Wild at Heart. He has a book called Wild at Heart. The heart of a man is wild, and it's part of our nature and dangerous. And, you know, the book, what's the one, Hard Times Create Strong Men, right? These are kind of some foundational reading.
That's Stefan Arnio.
Stefan Arnio, yeah. Some great foundational readings, and we learn about men being these bit rough around the edges, uncontained, untapped strength, like, you know what I mean, like on the side of a mountain hunting elk, you know, like adventure, like a cowboy kind of a, you know, feel free to chime in here, but you know,
they're not sitting on their couch watching TV.
Yeah,
that's because that's very safe, and you're not risking anything with that. There's something that speaks to the heart of a man when he's doing something that he could get injured in, or could get hurt in, or could die in. And that's kind of what, like, there's almost like like an essence to that, where you're like, yes, you know, like where you're like, I want to be dangerous, and I want to do something that I could die doing, but I want to conquer it and not die.
There's like, a lot of risk in that, right?
Yeah. Like, we want to risk something, because if we're risking something, that means we're doing something of purpose. And that's what we want to do. And like, we don't want to just like watch TV and stuff. And like, me and John just got a big ass whiteboard down here.
This is a great whiteboard.
Yeah, it's a amazing whiteboard. Because the thing is
literally like, describe this whiteboard right now, Adam, to our listeners.
It's like a big screen TV, except it's a whiteboard.
That's good.
And like
the biggest screen TV you can think of.
Yeah, it's probably like an 80 or 90 inch screen TV, but it's a whiteboard.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like because me and John are roommates, but we don't even have like a TV in our place.
We don't got a TV in this house
because we gather around a whiteboard because TVs are very about consuming. You're just consuming a bunch of media and stuff. Whereas a whiteboard, you're putting stuff on it. And it kind of reminds me of a time when I was doing door-to-door sales in Rockford, Illinois. And I was talking to this one guy, and we were like in his house. And
Rockford.
We were talking about stuff. And he
good old Rockford.
He had this huge screen TV. And he's like, isn't that the biggest screen TV you've like seen in Rockford? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Because it was like a 90-inch screen TV. It was huge.
He's like, let me bring you into my house to show you how, isn't my TV bigger than any TV you've seen? Like, man. Like,
yeah, I was like, yeah, man. Like, I haven't seen all the TVs, but like, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like agreeing with him to like get a little bit more buddy.
Build rapport.
And build some rapport and stuff so I can make the sale, which I did.
Heck yeah.
But anyway.
So if you see a big TV, give us a call and there's a bit of a sale for us.
Not only we don't want to have the biggest TV, we want to have the biggest whiteboard.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, we want to have the biggest whiteboard in town.
And you know why? Because we want to stay on the front end of being great.
Yeah, because the thing is like. The thing is with a whiteboard is it's so easy to just write down your ideas. Also because you're not afraid of like messing up because it's really easy to like erase and put it back on. It's like easier. It's easier to like erase and put back on than like writing with like a pencil on paper.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's just so easy to put stuff on it and take stuff off and move stuff around. And if you have a really big one, you don't have to worry about like running out of space. So it's a lot easier to get your ideas onto something that's outside of your head. And it just like helps you to be able to see it. And then you can also like back off later in the room and see it. And then like see it be like, it's almost like a work of art that you put up on the wall, but it was just like something that you wrote that is your idea. And you can like stand back and be like, look at that idea that I just put on the wall and it's great. And I just love it. And I don't understand why people have TVs when they can have whiteboards. It's great. Like,
dude, there's just an aspect of like, I'm creative. Like you said, I'm not a consumer. I'm creative, right? And so like you'll walk into our basement, okay, and it's vibey. We got these beautiful Edison bulb lights, black curtain, like exposed wood. Like it's it's humble, but it's pretty awesome. I mean, we also have like these epic lazy, like you'll find epic lazy boys, super comfy couches. Like I think we have like 12 seats here, or give or take, of a lot of seating. Adam's counting now because he has to know numbers.
I think we have 8.
Okay, there we go.
8 real comfy.
See, I was gonna keep going on, but I just know that Adam needed to get it right.
I need the exact number.
So I need to get this right. And so, anyways, we got 8 seats. Yes, you're right, and they're oriented around this wall. And the first thing you would think of when you walk down here and you see this wall, you're like, man, this would be a great TV room. And then we're like, no, this is going to be our Dangerous Men's Club room, and we're going to put a whiteboard here.
A giant whiteboard.
And like we said earlier, but I'm going to say it again because I just think it's the funniest thing of like, you're not going to find a house of bachelors, or you're going to walk down into the most comfy couches and like vibey room you've ever seen. You're like, man, there must be women here. This is a cool. I mean, it's a little bit of a cave, but anyways,
it's a bit of a cave. But other than that,
it's comfort. It's home. Anyways, you're never gonna walk into a basement of a bunch of bachelors and see couches oriented around a whiteboard to learn.
Until
now, yeah. But call now and we'll set up one for you.
Yeah, maybe we should start selling whiteboards.
No, it's great actually. If you and here's one last story here, and we'll clock off for today. But this is actually a great project because and I wanted to kind of get back to this idea too with our podcast, where we actually just like we want to start documenting our journey.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, and sometimes Adam and I love the content so much, like that we just want to start giving you all the goods, but it's like also like we're still learning some of it, so we don't have all the answers. And I just wanted to mention that quickly because I think there's this aspect that we actually want to be able to like stay connected more to this community of men. And like for us being the Dangerous Man podcast is part of a greater movement of Dangerous Men Global, and we really have a lot of vision. We'll go more to that another time, but I wanted to mention it because like you guys, this is like you guys are our family and our community, and we're really dedicated to learning how to become better men. and how to serve men and help them to do that too. Cause we believe in that mission so much. It's so important to us. And so this whiteboard thing, getting back to the story here, this is kind of an example of like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you about my life and what we've been doing. But, you know, for us, this whiteboard serves our Dangerous Men's Club. And we teach, we write out, we learn how to become better men. We write up on the whiteboard. And we teach concepts from books and on finances, and we talk about business. We talk about how to be a better man. And some of us are married, and we talk about, you know, one of our members really especially talks about marriage and how to be a father, and he's got kids, you know, and so it's like, it's something that's just super raw and organic, but we use this whiteboard and we write stuff, and people take notes, and we listen, and we give presentations up here, and we have group discussion on it. And it's all focused on the topics that come with wanting to basically have a mastermind of how can we grow? How can we become great? How can we become strong men? Right? Yeah. What we've labeled as this, coined as a dangerous man, the dangerous man. And so we want this to be what we do going forward. But this whiteboard for us is it's a symbol of, you know, possibilities. And I haven't really gotten super philosophical for this. I'm not going to go on too much of it, but like this whiteboard is an awesome tool and we love it. And I sat down here after we put this up, Adam. I literally sat on the couch and looked at it. And I was down here for an hour and a half. And
like, it's magical. Isn't it great?
I was just looking at I had like 3 things written on there.
You just stared at it for hours like people watch their TV or just looking at your whiteboard.
You would have walked down and been like, why are you looking at the whiteboard, Johnny? You're looking at, what did you write up there? Like, I actually wasn't reading what I wrote. I was just like, I'm so happy that we have this huge whiteboard.
I think that's something that's like
bigger than my wingspan.
Yeah, I think it's something that's super important about like staying on the front end is because a lot of staying on the front end of being great is just doing very simple things. Like, hey, making sure you're getting enough sleep, going to bed on time, getting up on time, you know, getting prayer, getting a workout, feeding yourself properly, all those stuff. Those are very simple.
Reading, staying educated.
Yes, reading, staying educated. It's all very important, but it's very simple. And I think like a whiteboard kind of encapsulates that so well because it's a whiteboard. It's really, really simple, but because it's a creative tool, it's very simple, but what you do with it is the greatness part.
Ooh.
It's kind of like in a car, like, yeah, you can have that, like the gas brake and you can go 30 or you could floor it and just send it. But
full send, give it the groceries, as they say.
Yeah, put the pedal to the metal. I'm a person that likes to speed, so I
love it.
But don't call the cops.
If you do, I can tell you where he lives. But you like to go fast in your car.
Yeah, but
okay.
The thing is staying on the front end of greatness is really like you're putting down the gas to getting where you need to go, and you're not like hitting the brake because you're doing the simple things. Like pushing your foot down on the gas is a very, very simple thing, but it makes you go really, really fast.
Dude.
As long as you're not braking, try to make it complicated braking and putting on the gas. Like keep it simple.
So how do you drive fast? Well, let me tell you.
Just
push the pedal down more to the ground.
Yeah. And especially if you have an automatic, it's even easier because you don't have to gear shift or anything. It does it for you. Just put the gas to the floor and
we should sell this course for like $300. How to drive fast. One simple step. Push the pedal down.
Yeah. But that's the thing is staying on the front end of greatness is simple, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. In fact, it's pretty difficult. Because when you're having to, you know, commit to working out, and sometimes you get up and you're like, man, my body does not feel like working out, but you work out anyway, it's kind of those dangerous things that you're doing that you're like, I'm actually kind of risking a little bit of injury to really make sure my body is in tip-top shape that it should be. Now, obviously, you don't want to overdo it and that kind of stuff, but it's
not safe. It's not necessarily unsafe, but it's, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a bit, it's
but
intense,
also
it's risky.
To keep those things going and to really push into that so you can get those wins, so you can compound those wins into bigger and bigger wins and become great instead of meandering through the hills and valleys of your emotions and and just being all over the place and just kind of being able to be swerved whichever way that other people kind of push you. That's just kind of being safe and not being dangerous. But to really do the things that you know you need to do, choosing the great, and staying on the front end of that greatness, doing the very simple things that keep you going on that way, that's how you become great, and that's how you become dangerous.
Amen, man. I love that so much. And so, yeah, we're going to clock out here for the day, but, guys, stay on the front end of being great. And, we're actually going to end with this. I got my hand raised. We're going to make a commitment, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I want you to raise, wherever you guys are at, I want you to raise your hand. Okay, Adam and I are doing this.
I'm raising both my hands.
Oh, dude, he's here's what you want. Repeat after me. Match Adam, okay? Repeat after me. I blank. I John.
Adam.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I blank. Start over.
I, Adam.
Commit. To staying. On the front end. Of being great. Woo! That's the commitment, guys. You want to understand how to move forward. And, this isn't something like I can't put this system in a book or, but it takes commitment. It takes determination. There's going to be ups and downs in life. We have them all the time. Adam and I have them all the time. There's going to be times we sit down and podcast and we're not as jacked as we always are. Some days we're really feeling it. Some days we're not. And it doesn't change the fact that the commitment is what keeps a man on the path towards greatness. It doesn't matter how you feel. Mm-hmm. It's not about what you want to do. It's about what you need to do.
Sometimes you feel like you can't, but you can.
Yes, because the feelings don't override a commitment. Mm-hmm. Because a commitment is clear, it's focused, and it's definite. It's like, if I committed, that means I'm following through no matter what, and I'm hell-bent on making it happen. And so this is what we have to say every day. Like, I have to honestly think that I'm committing to the things that I know that will help me. And once what will help me, we can learn more. I recommend reading books. Read every day. And, I'm not going to give you every tip in the book there is. I'm not going to make this a how-to podcast, but I'm going to say that self-education is really important to learn what you need, to know what you need to commit to. And then you can start to formulate on a whiteboard, preferably, because what you want to commit to. Like, it's going to take some reflection. But once you get there, before you even know what you're going to do, before you even have that figured out, what the most important thing is to say, I commit. I, John, commit to staying on the front end of being great, and just to let yourself go down that path.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to leave you guys with today.
If you're committed, the problems will sort themselves out as you commit.
Absolutely. Every great person, entrepreneur, business owner that I know will say that. And so, you've been listening to the Dangerous Man podcast. Join us next time. Until then, stay dangerous.